Pokemon is too greedy these days. I have to pay for 60 FPS, microtransactions in my Pokemon Champions, $20 for GBA games. I gotta pay a subscription for online and to store my Pokemon. I miss the old days when Pokemon wasn't greedy. My man, Pokemon was always greedy under your context, Peru. Before the eShop closed down, they charge you $5 a year for Pokemon Bank, which is cheaper than Home. However, unlike Home, where you had one box if you didn't pay, Bank gave you zero. Here's something a little more obscure. You might know about the Pokédex 3D app on the 3DS, but there was also a version on iOS that costed $2 and only contained Univent Pokemon. You had to pay $6 to unlock one region's Pokédex, requiring you to spend $26 for the complete app. For comparison, Black 2 and White 2 were $30 each. But I think the biggest shutdown of this claim that Pokemon was once not greedy are the versions. To complete a game's Pokédex, you need to buy both versions. The vision here was that people you know that have an opposite version can help you trade to complete your Pokédex. But places outside of Japan aren't as social like that, so people with no friends or siblings have to buy both versions, two systems, and maybe a link cable just to complete the game. If you got the special version, you'd be in an even bigger pickle, since some version exclusives are missing. To complete the National Pokédex, you need to buy a different console spin-off and a link cable on top of the regular versions and two consoles, or you may need to buy the previous generation's games. That's a lot of money for 100% completion. One quick honorable mention, that guy who hates Stadium for being more expensive than the Game Boy title but contains less content. Now, a real justifiable criticism I couldn't think of that specifically Gen 3 and 5 didn't have are new Pokemon games feeling unfinished. And when we get a new Pokemon game for every year or two compared to other franchises having to wait 4 or more years, they're obviously going to be riddled with bugs at launch. Back to the greed conversation, if you're an adult having to deal with this cost of living crisis, you are obviously going to complain about how everything is too expensive these days. As a child with less internet exposure and no job, we probably wouldn't care much about the price of games or how well they perform. All we thought about was just catching them all and being the very best. We don't miss Pokemon being less greedy, we miss being young and clueless. And I like when people still have that young mindset enjoying the games, while still noticing and criticizing the actual flaws. Don't let the internet control what you should and shouldn't like. It's good to know what's going on in the world and discovering new things from other people, but shaping your interests completely around others may make you feel indifferent. I don't know how this short about greed turned into a PSA, but if you found my advice helpful, let me know.